He had the title, the salary, the car in the driveway everyone noticed, and one morning he sat in that car, engine running, and couldn't make himself go inside, not because he'd failed, but because something he couldn't name had been quietly taken from him, and he had no idea when it happened. What was stolen and who was doing the stealing is what this video is about. This channel is about Stoic philosophy, not as an ancient relic, but as a living tool for the modern world. In this video, you will understand why so many successful people feel quietly empty, and more importantly, why the Stoics saw this coming 2,000 years ago. We are going to cover three things. First, what the Stoics called the silent thief. Second, how modern success became the perfect vehicle for that theft. And third, the one practice Marcus Aurelius used every single day that almost no one talks about. If you've ever achieved something you worked hard for and felt less than you expected, tell me in the comments. You're not broken, you just haven't heard this yet. In 170 AD, a man named Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth. He had absolute authority over millions of lives. He commanded armies. He lived in palaces, and every night he wrote private notes to himself, notes no one was ever supposed to read. Notes that begin repeatedly with lines like this: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Name as peace. Now look at us. We live in an era that has more material comfort than any Roman emperor could have imagined. Hot showers, instant food, communication across continents in seconds. And yet research consistently shows that rates of anxiety, loneliness and purposelessness in people between 35 and 65 are at historic highs. The generation that built careers, raised families and climbed every ladder available is also one of the most quietly dissatisfied in recorded history. And yet research consistently shows that rates of anxiety, loneliness and purposelessness in people between 35 and 65 are at historic highs. The generation that built careers, raised families, and climbed every ladder available is also one of the most quietly dissatisfied in recorded history. That is not a paradox. That is a theft in progress. And the thief doesn't look like failure. It looks exactly like success. There is a name for what's happening, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. In 2023, a Harvard study found that career success ranked last among the 10 factors people said gave their life meaning. Last. It gets translated as happiness, but that's not quite right. It means something closer to flourishing according to your nature, not feeling good, not having things flourishing. Epictetus, who began his life as a slave, wrote that the only true freedom is freedom from wanting what you cannot control. The only prison is the belief that external things determine your worth. Think about how inverted modern success culture is. We are told constantly that your title determines your value, your income determines your freedom, your possessions determine your status. Every one of those is an external thing. Every one of them is, by Stoic definition, not yours. Epictetus called these things indifference, not because they don't matter at all, but because they cannot be the foundation of a meaningful life. Build on sand, and you will feel it move beneath you. Build on what is outside your control, and you will never feel stable, no matter how much you accumulate. This is what the man in the car had done. He had spent 20 years building on sand, and he wasn't even aware there was another kind of ground. The Stoic insight is not, care about nothing. It is, be very precise about what you care about and why. Most people are imprecise. They absorb the values of their industry, their neighborhood, their social media feed. And then one morning they sit in a car they don't remember choosing and wonder why it doesn't feel like theirs. Think about the last time you achieved something significant. Was the feeling what you expected? If not, drop a word in the comments. Just one word. I want to know what it actually felt like. Why comparison is the specific thief. Earlier, I mentioned a thief. Now let's name him precisely. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little who is poor, but the man who hankers after more." He was describing envy, but not the obvious kind, not the burning resentment of someone else's success. He was describing something quieter, a low, persistent signal that what you have is insufficient, that someone nearby has something you don't, and that difference matters. The Stoics understood something about envy that modern psychology is only now confirming. It is not a reaction to scarcity. It is a habit of the mind that creates scarcity when none exists. You have a good life. Then you see a comparison, and suddenly, the good life is not enough. The comparison did not take anything from you materially, but it stole your peace. That is the theft. That is why it is silent. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it." He could have written the same of envy. We suffer more from the wanting than we ever would have suffered from the lacking. Here is the Stoic logic stated plainly. Envy is a self-inflicted wound. It requires your own participation. No one can make you compare yourself to them. You choose to look, you choose to measure, and you keep choosing it until you decide not to. The dangerous thing about modern life is that comparison has been industrialized. Every platform is an engine designed to make you measure yourself. Not out of cruelty, out of economics. Your dissatisfaction is monetizable. Your peace is not. The Stoics would have recognized this immediately. The world profits from your envy. Your soul does not. Now here is the part that most people who study Stoicism completely miss, and it changes everything about how you practice it. The practice Marcus Aurelius actually used. Remember the man in the car. He had everything the world said to want, and he felt nothing. The Stoics did not just diagnose this problem, they prescribed a daily exercise, and Marcus Aurelius used it. We know this because it is woven through almost every entry in Meditations. It is called memento mori, remember that you will die. That sounds bleak. It is not. It is clarifying. Marcus would begin his mornings by contemplating his own death, not morbidly, but precisely. He would ask, if today were my last day, does what I am about to do matter to me, not to my employer, not to my reputation, to me? This practice did something comparison cannot do. It removed the noise. It stripped away the external scaffolding, the titles, the approval, the metrics, and left only what was actually true, what he actually valued, what actually made him feel like himself. Most people will never do this, not because they are incapable, but because modern life is expertly designed to prevent it. Busyness is comfortable. Reflection is not. It is far easier to keep moving toward the next target than to stop and ask whether the target is yours. This is the deepest theft, not the envy, not the treadmill of success. The theft of your attention, the theft of your quiet, the theft of the 10 minutes each morning that could tell you who you actually are. The Stoic answer to modern success culture is not to reject success. It is to refuse to let success define you before you define yourself. Sit with your own life in silence before the day begins, before the phone is checked, before the performance starts. That is where you find what no thief can reach. 3 things to hold on to. 1. Success built on external things is built on ground that shifts. The Stoics knew this. Now you do too. 2. Comparison is not a reaction, it is a choice, and you can stop making it. 3. The most powerful Stoic practice is also the most uncomfortable. Sit with your own life before the world tells you what it should look like. Seneca said, "While we delay, life passes, not while we fail, while we delay." The danger is not that you won't achieve enough. The danger is that you'll spend your life measuring the wrong things. If this video shifted something for you, hit like. It takes 2 seconds and it tells the algorithm that this kind of thinking is worth spreading. Subscribe if you want to go deeper. I post every week. And next week we are covering why Marcus Aurelius believed that most of what we call discipline is actually just clarity. That video will reframe how you think about willpower entirely. Tell me in the comments, which of these 3 points hit closest to home? I read every single one. 2 videos worth watching next are on your screen right now. Both will sharpen what you learned today.